Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, happy morning, everybody, and afternoon and evening. And we've got a jam-packed agenda for today, so I'm going to jump right in. So today we're going to be covering a few things. We got a couple of housekeeping items, and I'm going to be skipping through some of the items on our normal agenda. And this session, we're going to focus a lot on the third pillar of our primary goals this quarter, which is raising funds. So, originally we talked about the pitch and the product, thoughts on how we're going to address the community and get more engaged. And now we're going to take a look at how we are raising funds, both on the business development side and also a new effort to take another round at our crowdfunding. And after that, we are going to have a nice, wonderful showcase from Andrew Dorland. And if we have some time, I'd love to talk a bit about brand. If not, it's no problem. We can always get to that another day. But that's what we're aiming to cover. So as long as everyone can see my screen okay here, I'm actually going to give the floor to Eugenia, who is driving our awesome blood drive, which is gaining some momentum. So Eugenia, would you like to chat a bit about blood drive?
Yeah, I think a lot of you have already heard me soapbox about this, but this is our first non-Boinka related campaign that we are running. In our investment decks, we actually have it listed that we have essentially had one blood donation. And I think that there's a lot more that we can do to encourage more, starting with the people who work at Leyline and volunteer at Leyline. I think it's really important that as a company, we put our money where our mouth is, or in this case, we put our blood where our mouth is. So I would really, really love if more employees of Leyline and volunteers could get engaged with this blood drive campaign. So you basically download the Red Cross blood donor app, and this is currently only available in the US. So I'm aware that this maybe can't be a global campaign due to different restrictions across the UK and in other countries about what is allowed and not allowed in terms of blood donations. I am waiting on the NHS to get back to me regarding UK and rewards for blood donations from the UK. But so far in the US, if everybody who's in the US can go ahead and download the American Red Cross blood donor app, register for a blood drive near you and donate sometime this week. I think it would be really nice if we get a lot of people replying to this thread with photos of them donating or that they're signed up. And ideally, our community will get involved as well. We currently have 7 people signed up for our team, which is possibly 21 lives saved if everyone is able to donate. Note that not everyone who signs up to go donate will always end up being eligible, either due to iron in their body. They'll do a teeter test before you actually go in. They'll make sure that, you're not over or underweight in terms of your donation, that you've got enough of a good blood pressure, and that you haven't traveled to a place that has mad cow disease or other concerning viruses floating around. So if you guys could please go donate, it would be greatly appreciated. This is something that we can use when we talk about our impact and, ask for funding. And it, really helps verify that we as a nonprofit are doing good in the world. So please donate sometime this week for our campaign. If you guys need more info on the campaign, I'm linking the Twitter post.
Thank you, Gina. And thank you so much for organizing this. This is actually really, really important. I can't express enough how powerful donating blood is to literally help save lives. And in particular, we are facing a pretty serious crisis right now when it comes to blood donations, because many people are not donating because they're afraid of catching a virus. And so I was actually, I've personally allocated time this week to go give a donation, and I highly encourage everybody else to join if you are able to, or if you're comfortable to do that. But I was on the phone with a Red Cross volunteer who was basically trying to reach out to people and say, hey, we need some help. And I just got in a conversation, and they're saying it is record low donations right now and record shortages. And obviously it's going to be in different areas, but they are in desperate need. And this is so critical for many, many people that are struggling in hospitals and in need. So it is also around 600, 800 calories burned whenever you donate blood. So if you're looking to lose some weight, there's some side benefit there. And you get a free packet of Cheez-Its and a bottle of water. So anyway, something to think about.
Cheez-Its, I'm in.
Whatever motivates you, saving lives or Cheez-Its, you can get both. So win-win. But yeah, thank you, Eugenia. And again, this is a very powerful exercise for us to demonstrate whether or not the Leyline points and the fact that you do it on platform, part of this community, is actually an incentive to drive donations, which will tee up a great partnership with the Red Cross and other organizations in the near future. So thanks again, Eugenia. All right. So other housekeeping item for today is that we are 501c3 status approved, nonprofit to the max. And for those that may not be 100% familiar with what this means, so there's a couple, there's a lot of different legal classifications for nonprofits. So we from the very beginning, we've always been a California nonprofit, like as a organization, but there are additional classifications when it comes to your legal tax exempt status. And so 501c3 is the critical status we've been gunning for, and we've always been 501c3 pending. But thanks to our president on the board of directors, Justin Smith, he made the final call to make sure that we were approved, and we are indeed. And also really big shout out to Brian Chang for really taking this thing and grinding it all the way through from the very beginning. So thank you so much, my friend, for taking care of that. And what I do want to emphasize is that this status unlocks a lot of opportunity for us at Leyline. For one, as I mentioned, most of these business development partners that we work with have this financial incentive to donate anything to us, whether it's time or in-kind value from their products or just straight money, because it's a tax write-off for them. And companies really like to maximize their tax write-offs and minimize their tax impact. So this is a further incentive for them to partner with us. It also allows us to onboard onto official platforms and work with service providers that give discounts to nonprofits. So in order to qualify for, say, discounted Google services or get onto Tiltify so that all the Twitch streamers can onboard us onto their charity streams, we needed to be 501c3 status. So I think we have about a dozen or more different platforms and services and partners that we can now finally re-engage and say, yes, we are officially 501c3 status. Let's move forward. So this is going to unlock a lot of opportunity for us. So very, very exciting, guys. And so yeah, there you go. That's one nice win under the belt. Okay, so now we're going to jump into fundraising. Excuse me one second. All right. So there are many different activities happening when it comes to fundraising. And as I've mentioned before, if anyone's interested in seeing what is happening on the business development side, we have an entire pipeline that tracks the various partnerships and leads that we have to talk to. And so at the moment, we've done a stellar job. Big thanks to Eugenia and Crystal and Mark Dion, who's currently out right now, in terms of maintaining relationships and basically landing contracts and partnerships. So at the moment, we got about 18 ongoing or committed relationships at this point. And we've got a lot of conversations happening, about 40 to 50. And, this is a wide range, whether it's investors or sponsors or partners, et cetera. But what I wanted to do was just do a couple of deep dives for some of our more recent wins, because we've made a lot of progress. And, can I hit back? Is that working? Okay. All right, cool. So the first one I'll get into is actually a game company, very relevant, called New Blood Games. And maybe they can participate in our blood drive too. So who is New Blood Games, you might be asking? They are actually a game developer, and they are going to be sponsoring us and donating free games onto our platform. So they're this like hardcore first-person shooter, retro style game company, and they've got a really cool cult following. And if you check out some of their games on Steam, every single one of them has like crazy, overwhelmingly positive game reviews. And they say that they're the #1 positive reviewed games on the entire platform. So anyway, they are now going to be a sponsor, and their CEO, I think, Dave, is going to be on our podcast. I think it's next week. Is that right, Justin?
Yeah,
Brian?
next week.
All right.
Excellent.
So yeah, that's going to be a nice, cool, fun collaboration. And yeah, it's just, again, many of these brands and companies they have different motivations to to sponsor and to be a part of the prize pool. In this case, they just really love what we're doing, and they're like, yeah, let's just make it happen. So another nice big win. The second interesting partnership is the North America Scholastic Esports Federation. So the story behind this group is that Justin Gia and I had worked with this group for a while back when we were in the TESPA days. And I believe Tiffany Strand is also still working with NASEF to this day. And so what they are is essentially a student organization, or rather an educational nonprofit that is focused on building they're focused on building educational content and organizing clubs together and leveraging esports and gaming to help improve educational outcomes and learning. And it could go everywhere from developing their career skills like streaming or marketing or esports or teamwork or management to actually just tying it into science and education. So we are actually discussing many different layers of a partnership, but in terms of the scale and scope that they have over 1,000 high school clubs across the North America, Germany, Africa, and Australia. So we are going to be doing a pilot to do a number of different things because the synergy here is kind of crazy. So if you look on the actual, hang on a second. So if you look on the actual BizDev ticket here, and again, this is open for everybody to take a look at, we are discussing a number of things. One is because they are esports focused, that we can actually leverage our recurring community classes and our esports community events in conjunction with these high school clubs that already have their premier esports clubs and are trying to train their teams to, be player managers and streamers and shoutcasters, etc. So that one is a very easy one. The second is that they love the fact that Leyline is a source of truth for the good that you do in the world. So they actually want to onboard their students to use Leyline in order to track their volunteer activity, both in their local communities, but also their daily check-ins, because they actually developed a daily check-in system. So if you look at this PDF here, you can see some very interesting and stark similarities to what we're doing. So they call this model gamers, which is their, general wellness approach. So have they have the sense of growth and a sense of learning? Have they done physical activity each day? Have they recharged their mind via sleep and mindfulness and relaxation? Is their environment safe? Have they nurtured the relationships? Have they eaten properly and, taken care of themselves? So this might feel very similar to the kind of daily check-in that we are already offering on Leyline. And so when they saw that we have a technological platform that supports this and they have the organization, it was a very easy, oh my gosh, we should just connect this because this makes perfect sense. So that is what's going to happen. So anyway, there's a ton of opportunity here. And I think what we're working on now is to connect with one of their major districts, because they've got these different affiliates that have like 10 to 20 to 30 high school clubs and organizations throughout the US, some of them which already have in-state approved educational courses that they have implemented. So we're going to start our pilot quite soon, actually, probably maybe in the next month or so. And then the third collaboration is with the Student Ambassador Program. So they love what we're already doing, a Student Ambassador Program. And what's interesting is that actually many companies charge for this kind of service. It's like, think about going to summer camp, where as a high school student, your parents would pay, a number of hundreds of dollars for you to get this experience and to network and to be a part of a community and to get hands-on training and to get a mentor. So the fact that we're providing it for free, they're just like, whoa, this is insane. And we actually would love to get maybe 20 slots for our high school graduates to potentially, be a student ambassador at Leyline. So we are, we've got some really, really interesting stuff happening in this space. So just wanted to share some exciting stuff. If you'd love to learn more, happy to get anyone to share some ideas and help us organize. So yeah, that's NASEF. The other one is Pocket Full of Quarters, POQ.GG. So I'd actually met Tim Tello, who's the CEO of this company, a while back when we first started. And he's, this group is very much into the blockchain space. And what they have built is basically this platform where gamers can organize their own individual tournaments, and they use a cryptocurrency called quarters for people to basically, buy into a tournament and then compete for a prize pool and get quarters back out of it if they win. And then they use these quarters to cash out via a prize pool of gift cards and stuff like that. Sorry, guys, I didn't log in yet here, so I'll have to show you in a little bit. But what we are talking about in terms of collaboration is they actually are interested in being a sponsor for Leyline, and we may end up getting a bunch of quarters, a cryptocurrency, donated right into our prize pool, which our users can now claim via Leyline points and then use to participate in the tournaments on their platform and get prizes that they have in their prize pool. So what we're aiming to do is try to get some essentially this compatibility across our two different currencies and potentially leverage like NFT purchasing as well. So this is going to be a very, very interesting opportunity, and they have been getting a lot of momentum. Their community is blowing up. They've got about 100,000 users now on their platform. And Tim's actually was a guest on our podcast a couple of weeks ago. And so it's a very interesting partnership here. Let's see, what's the last thing I wanted to share with you guys? So this one we might have to cut out a number of these things out of the video, by the way. But the last one is with Osborne Media. So big shout out to Boogie to basically making most of this even happen. A lot of it is really relationship building and building trust and being able to put the pitch in place. So all credit to Justin on this one. So Jack Osborne has verbally committed, as well as most of his executive team, I assume, to partnering with Leyline and helping us to co-promote a crowdfunding push, and likely in the form of an NFT sale. So what we're trying to work out the details now are, one, timing, but two, just licensing approval and branding. And so what'll happen is that they help us to co-promote the shit out of it. Will connect us to a bunch of their friends. But the idea is that we could just turn this into a massive publicity opportunity and then drive a ton of non-fungible token sales that are exclusive to these celebrities. This is a massive opportunity, and potentially could happen relatively quickly. It could happen slow, but it could also happen quickly too. So it sets a stage for why we're going to be doing a bit of a crowdfunding push earlier, or a kind of a test run for us to make sure that we've got the capacity to execute on this, which I'll get to in a little bit. All right, I'm going to take a pause on business stuff and partnership stuff, and I'm going to hand it over to Andrew to do his showcase. Andrew, if you're cool to get rocking.
Yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, everyone hear me okay? All good?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so just even when Jeremy asked me to do this, I was trying to think of incorporating some more inspirational stuff that might kind of flow into this. So just to head off, everyone kind of knows what I do on this side of Leyline and kind of concept, kind of art and that kind of thing. So I thought I'd talk about where I came from first. So just for inspirational kind of stuff, I actually went to business school. I didn't go to art school. And so just from that standpoint, if there's anything I think probably a lot of people already know here, but if you want to do something, I think just do it and be ready for the job that you want to get right before it happens. So if anyone's listening to this, so I want to do storyboards and I do a lot of concept art. And so I spent months and years just practicing storyboards and that kind of thing and building up a portfolio that would look like something that would get hired. And then I got hired for a bunch of jobs. And then once that ball started rolling, then there you go. That's how it all kind of worked out for me. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I thought first thing I was going to give everyone a little drawing crash course, some little tip I think that might help people. And then I'll show off some art and kind of stuff I do outside of Leyline. So let me just share my screen. Everyone see that okay?
Yep. Looking good.
Cool. All right, so I think just one thing, I think a lot of people will jump in and they go I want to draw whatever it is, right? But they don't think about the background, which is actually the most important part of where that thing is sitting in space. So just as if anyone's doodling at home or doing something for fun, just try to do this kind of thing if you get your brain in a 3D space. So if you do a cube, right, and then that gives you kind of an idea of where someone's doing. So if I was going to draw a person in here, then you know this is maybe their side and this is their front. Right, so you can throw a head here, and they're looking this way. Here's their shoulders, and here's their arms, and this is their torso. So they're in this kind of space here with their feet. It's a funny little doodle. Right, and then you can do the same thing if you had a cube looking up, maybe like this. Right, so then you can do a person like this, and this is the bottom of their feet, and they're looking this way. Whoa, floating. So that's just a little, I just thought I'd show you a little tip. That's the biggest thing, is knowing where things are actually hovering in space. So it takes a lot of practice, I guess, with your brain to figure out what was up and down, but just kind of laying out that kind of thing. And a lot of times with 3D space now, people you can hop into Blender or something like that and just have a cube and print it out and draw over top of it. It really helps things. But so off of that, I'm just going to show off some stuff that I do outside of Leyline. I'll just get this up here. So a lot of time I do concept stuff, but the other big passion I do is comic books outside of that. So this is a comic called Ballyskillin that I do. We're just printing the first issue, so if anyone's interested in checking it out, I'll throw the link up anyway. But this is it's like an Irish tale that has fairies and a lot of cool stuff that happens. This is the bartender after he's waking up after having a bad night playing poker and losing his pub to a druid kind of guy. So this is the kind of stuff you can expect from me. This is some more stuff from the comic. This is a backup story that I did actually before that too, so it's included in the story, but it's like different characters kind of thing. And this was just something I talked about. If anyone's ever coloring, doing things, this is the biggest tip I would say for anyone that's new to coloring things. It's great to do something in grayscale or check it in grayscale so you can check your values. The values are actually more important than actual color. So make sure that things are actually contrasted properly. Some more.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced that I don't know if art was like the right choice for you, man. This is, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Here's a cool like little montage thing. So yeah, this is all my kind of comic stuff. Thanks. This is a pinup that we did for. So I'm in a studio called Raid Studios. So if anyone's interested in checking that kind of stuff out, it's raid.world is the website. You can pre-order the comic off of there and check out all the other amazing artists and comics and stuff
That's
that we
sick.
make from Toronto. Yeah, this is for one of the books that we're doing the pinups for. And then last thing I'd show you. Just grab this. So the comic, the cool thing that we did was, let me just grab this. The comic, this is just from the Kickstarter, but the comic is not only a comic, but it's actually a AR comic book. So I've made an app. You can download the app, and then the whole comic actually animates. Here's a sample of how it works. I don't know if you hear the sound.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so there's a lot of like secret stuff that's
Impressive.
built into the story, and you can, so every page will have some sort of animations I did, so it really delves into the whole story here.
That is incredible. Oh my.
Yeah. And if you buy any of the original art, if you hang it on your wall and you open up the app and you point at it, it still works off of the black and white art. So it's pretty cool for bonus stuff that people
Holy shit, man.
yeah. So I'm trying to change the game here with
Oh my god.
So here's another little preview of just how it works here, like on your phone or whatever. So I'm just finishing up some of the comics at the printers right now, and I'm just finishing up some of the animations. Just for the actual app, and then so it's coming out super soon, next month or so. So I was doing this a lot even before I joined Leyline. This was almost done, and we're just getting at it. So yeah, it did well, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah. Just for everyone, like inspiration wise too, like this is the first app I made. I just followed instructions on YouTube, and I downloaded a bunch of Unity programming stuff and just jumped in and figured it all out. So just set your mind to whatever you want to do, and so that's it.
This is incredible, Andrew. If you don't mind, could you post the link to this project on general chat, or we'll let everybody know as well, and the app and everything like that. Holy crap, that is incredible, man! Really amazing stuff. Now imagine that on an NFT. Oh my lord! Ready to get you set up, man.
Thanks. Yeah, I need some help. That's my plan. I wanted to launch it up when it's ready to make a download code with the NFTs, and you can work it in there. So I saw one other person has done a comic on that. That's the only one I've seen. So it'd be pretty cool to get into space.
Hell yeah. Oh man, Andrew, thank you so much. This is really inspiring, and the chat is kind of blowing up too. Everyone's loving it. Thank you for sharing. And I learned already, I need to learn how to draw boxes. That's my first step.
That's where it all starts.
All right. Okay, cool. So we're going to continue chugging along here. So the other thing I wanted to share with you is now that we've got a lot of this momentum and partnerships, and we have started to get our NFTs in place, one of our initiatives, I've put together a quest, which I'd love to kind of share with you guys, which is we've accomplished a lot in the past couple of months since we first launched in November. And when we did launch early on, we'd actually raised a good amount of cash via our crowdfunding campaign. And this, remember, it's important to know that a lot of people donated to our campaign and to our project without us having a established product, established community, established brand, or a fully functional team. And it's been now almost 2.5 months since then, and we actually haven't done any kind of crowdfunding push. So there's a number of reasons why it's going to be important for us to at least test out again and figure out, will people be willing to donate again? And many people, if you try to frame Leyline as a nonprofit, from an outsider's point of view, it's the same kind of experience that you would get as if you're donating to the Red Cross. And once a month, they may say, hey guys, we are doing a blood drive. We need to, help achieve these goals, and please help us by donating and contributing to a good cause. That's kind of where we are right now, where we want to just make sure we have a solid runway to just make sure that we can meet payroll and take care of everybody that's working on the project, while we focus on these larger sponsorship deals, investment deals, etc., and then build the community such that NFTs and their sales are actually going to be generating a lot of revenue for us. So what we want to do is try and set a goal to figure out, okay, what is it going to take for us to do another crowdfunding? What target can we potentially hit? What effort is required to do that? And how do we set this up such that we can do this and execute on a recurring basis with relatively little effort? Because sometimes it just comes down to a communication and just remind people, oh, by the way, guys, we are a nonprofit and we do run on donations, so please help us out. So we're doing a number of things here, and the important thing here is obviously we just need to make sure we have funds to continue operating, but also it's an opportunity for us to get smarter and to learn. So we are an open source and open knowledge project. So we want to make sure that we capture knowledge and that we share it freely, and that the knowledge itself is actually valuable and usable. So one, we just have to get comfortable with this idea that on a regular basis, we are going to have crowdfunding campaigns and bringing awareness to the progress that we've made, to the impact that we've had, and where we need budget to continue supporting the operation. So it's not only what we've accomplished, but the fact that we need money, and then how we're going to use that money to continue doing good in the world. As another consequence, by executing this with best practices and leveraging tools and processes, we can actually create a better knowledge base for all of the newcomers coming into the organization, to student ambassadors, or to literally anybody that wants to develop a specific skill set. And so from my point of view, my focus for this project is actually educational from the project management point of view. So to give a bit of my history, I've been professionally working for about 20 years now. I focused early on in project management. I studied project management, computer science in college. I took my master's cert in strategic project management. I'm PMP certified. I'm a Scrum Master certified, or CSM, CFO, CPO, et cetera, et cetera. And so I've been just doing this in my sleep for, for over a decade now. And I figured, oh man, we're not actually doing the best practices at Leyline at the moment. And if we want to scale to an organization of hundreds and hundreds of people working on a project, we actually need incredibly good tooling processes. We need an approach that's lean, agile, and adaptable. So that's what we want to try and do while we're doing a crowdfunding campaign. And this stuff is just very basic. There's nothing like crazy in terms of how much work it's going to take. So if you guys are interested, the quest itself is on the quest board, which you can see over here. And you can see the team that we assembled and the skill sets that we are leveraging. Let's see, what do I have to share here? The quest itself links over to our project page, which is in the documentation. So you can now see that if you want to know what's happening on the project, this is the team roster, these are the tasks at hand, and then we have a full project plan as well. And again, this stuff is pretty straightforward, which is, okay, this is the work breakdown structure that we have, and you see it broken down into the work breakdown structure. Notion is an awesome project management tool. You see the task owner and the status and the timeline, which we are still working on iteratively as a team. Once we've broken down the actual work, you can actually see that there are specific checklist items to do in order to finish off the specific task. We record the appropriate meetings, so that way if anybody around the globe or asynchronously needs to catch up, they can do that. We are working on the actual campaign brief. So thanks to Daniel and Antoine for doing a 404 error here. Just kidding. This is actually a real thing. And then as we start to identify the scope, we're going to work on the actual schedule and figure out how it fits into everybody's availability and roadblocks. Oh, it's still loading here. But yeah, you can see the mastermind unfolding with how we're going to appeal to these specific individuals, who the audience is, what the channels are, what the message is going to look like. So we are organizing all this work here in many different ways, so that way we can actually just literally copy and paste this the next time we want to do a crowdfunding project plan. And everything is there as a template that you can just reconfigure and reutilize again anytime we need to do that. And this idea is that this is a practice run for when we do a massive NFT sale in collaboration, whether it be March or April or May. This is our first practice run in getting there. So if anybody's interested in just, going through the basics and just getting up to speed on project management, I am putting effort here to just make sure we get this done right. It's a very simple, reduced scope. I mean, it's not super simple, but it's a finite scope, limited, just to see if we can actually, prove this hypothesis that people will donate to us again with our accomplishments. And then also, how do we stay organized as a globally distributed team, 100% remote, operating in different time zones with a bunch of volunteers that don't have the same exact availability? This requires a lot of project management and organization to pull off well. Because if we can't do that with a small project like this, with a relatively small team, there's no way we're going to scale to 1,000 people or scale to even 200 people. So this is where we begin, just by you doing the basics and building a strong foundation and executing very well. So that's the focus here. And in a large part, it's going to set the stage for how we succeed over the next couple months or so. So I'd love to ask questions here. I'm probably sure I confuse a lot of people. Maybe. Oh boy, am I even connected? Is this thing on? Oh shit. Any questions, actually?
Can you repeat all that?
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm just kidding. Nope, don't.
Anyway, so I did want to give that context around. It's important that we do recognize that we are shifting all the time. We are a constantly evolving organization in a constantly evolving market, in a constantly evolving technological landscape, and in a constantly evolving social landscape. So we also just have to get very comfortable with changing direction and understanding that, you know, a particular pathway or approach that we took may not have been the right one, and we made a mistake. So we're gonna fail a lot. I fail all the time. At least, like, you know, I'm trying to keep a tally of all my failures every day, just to, like, you know, show myself that it's okay and that we can learn from it. So anyway, just want to give that context that this is yet another shift for us and a hypothesis and experiment. And it may feel like whiplash every now and then, and I totally get that. But if it's a struggle for you guys, please do give me that feedback. Reach out to me, just so I can provide some context as to why. So I wanted to just kind of go share that with you guys because I would love your feedback. So hit me up afterwards.
Karim,
Yes.
I had a question on the chat, but I will reformulate a bit. What's your point, or what would be your vision considering merchandising, like creating some merch, some swag, and using that as crowdsourcing, because people like to donate, but people prefer swag. And so if you can, like, donate money while buying Leyline swag, and I'm looking at your mug right now, so that's why I'm also talking about that. The logo is nice, the art is cool, so why not, like, leveraging that and getting a win-win situation by selling it, when there are, like, solutions that exist where you just, like, upload the art and everything is dealt by the backend side.
Yes, absolutely. You know, I think these are all experiments that we want to run, and potentially very quickly. So we do have the capacity to produce merchandise and sell it as well. In fact, you know, I think Boogie and Jamie have plans in place that they're exploring at the moment. I think the challenge when it comes to physical merch is shipping and logistics. That's where a lot of the costs tend to cut in. So typically margins there are going to be very thin. It could be anywhere from like 1% to 3% margin. So if we say, like, get $1 million, $1 million volume, we're not really going to see a ton of return off of that. So I think we definitely want to explore it in the future because it is, you know, powerful branding in and of itself. But the way to scale profitability is actually through digital items. So what we're looking into is if it's possible for us to attach NFTs to the donations. So that's that's certainly going to be the case when we do the actual NFT sale. But if we are lucky and we can pull it off in this round, awesome, because it means that anybody that does end up donating now will be able to provide them with some kind of tangible value. Even though it's digitized, it is still tangible. And so yeah, we are exploring that. I don't know if it's necessarily going to make it into this particular round, but if we can, awesome. So that's part of the project, is to figure out what the scope is. If we've got the capacity and the bandwidth to pull that off, we are absolutely going to test it out. And I think that sets the stage for, in the future, now our user base or donor base is, you know, familiar with this idea that, oh, if I donate, I'm going to get something back out of this. And, you know, it incentivizes them further to feel like they're accruing value beyond just having their social impact. So yeah, that's absolutely the pathway for us, Karim. I love that idea. Thank you. Other questions? If not, I am going to just do a little bit of soapboxing, which I hope you guys will also have some feedback around too. So the last thing I wanted to chat with you guys about was our brand. So, you know, we early on set some brand DNA for ourselves and our core values, and we updated on the website, and we have a bunch of stuff documented in Leyline Home regarding our values. However, we have changed a lot and we've evolved a lot, and not necessarily in a bad way or a good way or anything like that. It's just that there are some themes that are sticking out to me that I figured are important for us to just talk about in general. And we can discuss it here during Q&A if we have extra time. I think we do have extra time. But if not, I would love actually to get your feedback here or just have some open discussions about it. So here's some things that have been surfacing to me that I think it's important that we all agree on, or at least like feel like we're on the same page about. The first one is how we respect and protect our users. The technology space is moving so fast these days, and it is very scary when it comes to data privacy and data protection and how that impacts your quality of life and even the quality of society. So what I want to make sure that we're all committing to is that our users are going to own their data. We are not going to exploit that, control it, sell it, manipulate it, or do anything that's going to affect their quality of life or their safety. So that's super important. And the way that we make sure that that happens is, first and foremost, just at least make sure we're compliant with regulation. So GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, which is based out of the European Union, and CCPA, which is, I don't know, California Consumer Protection Act or something like that. These are all regulations that really say a user has the ability to know what data you have on them, to ask to get a full report on what you're using their data for, and the ability to delete it permanently. So we are absolutely going to comply with that. That needs to be part of our core infrastructure. But the bigger and probably more important thing too is monetizing off of data. So what exists today is essentially called the surveillance economy, where Facebook and Google and all these other companies are literally just mining data for everything that we do. And they can actually start to manipulate our decision making by exposing specific types of information and particular types of advertising. And that is actually destroying our society, unfortunately, because this underlying business model of making money off of people using your product and selling their data is eroding the ethics behind how to run a business. So Leyline would never monetize off of user data. We are going to keep as little of it as possible, and we're going to make sure that the users are empowered to do with their data as they so please. And I think blockchain and smart contracts in particular actually allows users to monetize themselves off their own data. So we want to help support that and really empower people versus empowering platforms. So yeah, I wanted to really state that because we actually don't have that as a public thing yet, nor is it part of our lexicon. So really want to throw it out there that this is really important from a purely like social good perspective. This is really critical because we all now live in these virtual worlds, and it will control us if we don't, protect ourselves and protect others. So I think it's our core responsibility. The second bit is, there's something really transformational happening in the marketing landscape. And what I'm observing, and particularly like through a lot of our testing and go-to-market strategies, is that I think what's winning out now is just pure authenticity, transparency, and humility. And a lot of that comes from, the traditional ad space is about grabbing attention and being provocative and interesting so someone's curious to check out your product. Whereas the complete opposite of that is basically, what Elon does with Tesla and SpaceX, et cetera, which is they spend $0 in advertising. And why are they successful? They're successful, one, because their product is awesome. They invest tons and tons of energy into engineering and product building, and building a product that people will love, and it creates this community and this following around it. So we have to take a lesson from that, in that they just show what they're doing. And I think that's the key, and why I really focused a lot on making sure we're all on board with what our product is and seek to improve it all the time. But the second bit is just people are very smart now. They want to see through any kind of advertising or any kind of content that's not really about what value you're giving to them. And we should just be very honest about where we are, what we're doing. And the most important thing is that we are going to screw up all the time. And we just should be okay with that, because that is just what life is. That is what humanity is. We fail all the time. And what makes us actually successful is the capacity to recognize that we failed, to be humble enough to say, okay, I was wrong, and now let me do it better, to move forward and to endure. And that is how we're going to win. A lot of this is just grinding away at just doing the right thing over and over and over again. And your community and your customers start to believe in you because you just never give up. Even if you fuck up, you just say, okay, I'm picking myself up and moving to the next stage. So I do want to really emphasize that this is kind of core to Leyline. We need to like move into this new type of organization where the world is seeking much more authenticity, transparency, and humility. So let's really lean in on that. I think it's resonating. So anyway, I wanted to share these reflections with you guys because I don't know, it's just been hitting me in the face all the time, but never had a forum to discuss that. And that's it. That was my soapbox for brand. And again, if you have questions or comments or feedbacks or ideas, I would love to hear it. And that concludes our agenda for today. So I will stick around for the next 8 minutes. If you guys want to raise your hand, ask questions, please feel free. I'm at your disposal.
I was just going to say that I think the data privacy thing I think that's huge. I mean, with all the, I think the kind of sleight of hand that the tech companies pulled and trying to figure out how to monetize their free products to the masses, I think that was pretty devious. And it's definitely not straightforward in what data there are privacy policies, but it's like a 50-page legal document, right? So nobody really quite understands how that's being used. I think you're absolutely right on like figuring out new ways of generating revenue that don't involve like stealing data from your customers.
Yeah, 100%. And, I was working in digital marketing at Blizzard and working with the Googles, the Facebooks, the Apples of the world. And it was ugly, man. The kind of stuff that I saw, that was like still 7 years ago. And even then I was frightened. My first reaction coming out of that Google meeting, I was like, is there a code of ethics for marketing? Because this stuff is really scary, guys. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? This is like totally fine. This is how you optimize. I was like, this is fucking crazy. So I'm very concerned by this. I don't know if you guys have seen The Social Dilemma or this, what's it? The Great Hack. These are documentaries on Netflix. If you have not, you definitely should. Or if you use Facebook, for example, you should definitely watch those documentaries. It's very important. So yeah, we do not want to go down that pathway. In fact, we want to undercut that business model and destroy it because it is just bad for society. And that's why our business model is like, okay, let's just get the sense of digital ownership and creativity and, the sense of people can be creative and do good things and then get money for that. Anyway, Antoine, do you want to say that?
I have a question to connect that to something you said earlier. I'm not going to dwell on how much I hate that economy and that marketing, but because we've had that 5-0 status, I don't remember the exact
501c3.
Yes. Should we still not play that game and dance that dance because that probably allow us to get some free paid marketing on Facebook, Google, and others? And as much as I really, really dislike these platforms, if we can use them to our benefit, I still maybe think we should, or maybe not. I think but it's still worth being investigated.
Yeah, I think you're right, Antoine. I think we do need to balance the importance of leveraging where audiences are. Like we have to be able to speak to them. Like shouting into the trees that Leyline's here is probably not going to do us very good. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right, in particular because like those are donated. And I think there's the question of it's like it comes down to like the execution itself, how we're presenting ourselves, etc., who we partner with, who our sponsors are. It's not as simple as a binary 0 or 1. I think there's a much more gray area where we can choose the right things to do, and it's not an all or nothing type of game.
Can I chime in? Can I chime in for 1 second, Jeremy?
Sure.
I think there's a difference between us giving away data, which is the thing we're talking, right? Any data you have in the Leyline platform is sacred, but that doesn't have to mean that we can't in some way collaborate with other companies that are not doing things ethically.
Mm-hmm.
right? We can use them, they just can't use us.
That is absolutely correct. And, you know, it's, we could probably have a whole podcast on this one. I think.
Phrase it carefully, but I think the goal, right? You can't say we're not going to do targeted advertising because even advertising in a local newspaper is geo-targeted.
Right. Yeah, I think there's two positions here, which is, does Leyline as a platform do advertising? And that's a flat no. But then for Leyline to reach audiences, and if like Leyline gets free advertising from a Google, like we wouldn't say no to that because it allows us to reach people that are on their platform. But it's not like we're saying, okay, we want you to target this cohort and we want you to manipulate them at this time of day. Like it's not what we would do. We would just want to get in front of as many people as possible to get the message there. I think so. That's kind of the positioning, is like what we own and what we control and how we use our platform versus other platforms do some banana like crazy shit, but we're still on there because the people are there and we're trying to communicate with them.
For example, on Facebook, you can target ads by email address, right? Mm-hmm. You can give Facebook the email addresses of the people you want to target ads to and target ads on the platform for your product.
Correct.
Something we could do, and there would be advantages to us doing it, but we wouldn't do that because it gives Facebook our data.
Correct. That one's probably the scariest feature that we've ever interacted with because it unlocks all this crazy stuff. But yeah, thank you guys for that input and clarity. Yes, Antoine, please.
No, it's funny, this raising hand thing. If you have 5 minutes, I have a story about Facebook and Rich to share with you, which is actually quite telling. I was doing some pro bono for the NHS, I think 5 months into the pandemic, and we were trying to help a lab for University of London or one of these, and they needed 30,000 people to follow a quite strict protocol in order to enable their study. And they had a little bit of fund, and what they've been doing historically was to send postcards to the postcodes. They knew there was the community that they were looking to be monitoring in order to help slowing the spread of the disease. And an agency came in and told them like, oh, look, you have like 20,000 pounds, and maybe the reach you would have by investing this in Facebook could be incredible, and you would reach millions of people. And so they did. They actually followed this advice, and they reached millions of people. And they had actually 3 people signing up. So that was a disaster. What actually happened is what Facebook sells you as reach is for you to be somewhere in someone's scroll, in this endless scrolling. And to actually, this is like the mosh pit of brands, friends, messages. And to actually get your message across, you actually much better just sending a postcard, because that's what we end up doing as an agency. Is after we run that Facebook campaign, which was great, there was animation, the message was clear and impactful, we still like send postcards to people, because that piece of material thing coming to the door is actually more convincing than any of the digital message that people could have. Thank you for listening for my lengthy story.
Thank you, Antoine. That's it is very telling, and a bit of a cautionary tale in some ways. Because man, now imagine what Facebook's do with that data. Oof, Lord. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Sorry to close on a very weird anecdote, but this is what we are going to be changing. We are part of this revolution. It's not just Leyline. Honestly, I'm connecting more and more to all these different blockchain developers, and this metaverse is emerging very, very quickly. And there's also actually another interesting social platform called Clubhouse, which we should probably talk about at some point, which does start to shake up that value proposition, and it's much more pro privacy and user friendly, or user protection friendly. But for another day. Otherwise, we are now at. Sorry, Buggy.
If you have an iPhone.
If you have an iPhone, yeah, it'll get there eventually. All right, guys. So thank you very much. I hope this was helpful and inspiring for you guys. The momentum is palpable. I feel it. I see it. We're gonna get this thing going, and I love you all. Have a fantastic week, and I'll stick around for any questions. I'll stick around. Yep. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. I'll hang out.
Yes. Yeah. No, you know, we're meeting Kudos team end of this week. Kudos. I was wondering what's the best forum to discuss with our Leyline team to see what we want to do with them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, actually, would you like to kind of talk through it for everyone sticking around? I think that would be this perfect time.
Yeah, you took.
Sorry, I killed everyone. Told everybody to leave. I'm so sorry.
No, all good. So I shared the link for everyone. Okay, this is the link. So basically, we met these guys. They're operating out from UK, not London, UK mainly. They have few people remote, but many in UK. The main proposition they offer is people to mine cryptocurrency on their phone and donate to the charities what they earn. They have a white label product, and they were really open in many aspects to help us, either by giving the product. At no point in the discussion they were mentioning selling or anything. And I do personally, I could feel from a couple, 2 or 3 people talking on their teams that they want to give back. So they're really aligned with our values. I can remember at least 2 people sharing anecdote and say, yeah, if it's a way for us to help you or to help people via Leyline, let's do it. So they came with few scenarios. I don't remember all of them on top of my head. From my head, I don't remember how to say that. But anyway, they came with few scenarios, and they really want to integrate in a way and to be collaborative with them. I think they're also more advanced on their blockchain. They have return on experience on. They seem to have difficulties to launch their blockchain. So we are meeting them on, I think it's Thursday. But I wanted to know with the team what could be good options, what we could expect from them. It's mainly them offering to help us at this stage. They're way more advanced. So if anyone has an idea from a product, or if we want to leverage their technology or their engineering or the platform, whatever, we can ask them. Jeremy, what were the scenario you were the most interested?
Yeah, I think so. One interesting offer they had was so essentially what they have is a distributed computing platform, basically just like Boink, but they built it from the ground up to be much more robust. So that way, many more programs can actually benefit from volunteer computing. So right now, Boink is only for like scientific research, but their platform is like, we can power anything. Like whether it's like, you need a AWS server, fine, we can power that via this technology. So one thing they offered was we can white label our client, so that's Leyline specific. And then any donations that come in to that can be oriented towards specific charities. So we could use that as the installer if we wanted to. I don't know if that's the path that we want to take, but it becomes this new option for us. The second is that we could be one of the charities that's now part of their platform through which people donate to. So that's just a passive income flow for us if we decide to partner up. The third is that they do have a cryptocurrency, which is called Kudo. So, they call it kudos. It's like, hey, I'm going to give you kudos for the good that you've done in the world or for the charity. So that could also just be part of our, potential prize pool, or we could be earning kudos as our participant, which is now exchangeable and you can trade for real currency. So there's a number of different ways that we can actually set up the partnership. So I think we do need to explore what those options are. That's stuff that came to mind immediately, Homa.
Yeah, and maybe we could have someone more from the engineering people to join on the next call. It's let me give the details to everyone on this call. Let me tell you when it is. It's actually not. No, it's not now. It's I'm checking. Yes, it's next Tuesday at 8 a.m. PST. So it's early for the people living in Pacific, but I think it would be a good opportunity to have someone asking some technical question if we want to move forward, or someone from the product team could be also a good match. So next Tuesday, the 16th of February, 8 a.m. Pacific time zone.
And big shout out to your Homa for making this connection. It's a fantastic fit, and Homa's been hustling to just network and do a ton of biz dev. So thank you so much for making that convo happen. It's gonna be big.
Yeah, so I was not over-promising with them. I said we wanted to talk first with our staff and our team, but I'm really excited because we also had other calls with in kind of biz dev where the people were not at all fit in terms of values, and just feeling that people are genuinely, and I could genuinely feel it, want to give back to younger startup, more green startup, investor, and help us and giving back. It's also give to provide momentum with us. So I'm really in favor of moving forward with them. But yeah,
I really like it. And actually, Hamad, sorry, I missed this one because I was going through the biz dev pipeline. So we'll make sure to add the card there so we can track it. And I think related to that, one thing I got to say is that, man, there is just so much partnership opportunity out there and a lot of interest that we just can't even keep up. So I did mention that, we've got 40 active conversations plus at this point. So if there's anybody on a team that's like interested in doing business development, relationship management, or just organization, we could definitely use some help. Honestly, I'm not a sales guy. I am a product guy. I just want to build and I want to execute projects. I don't want to sell. I'm so tired of this. So if anybody loves that stuff, please talk to me because I'm happy to, empower you to take on some of these conversations. I mean, they're fun. It's just that I like to build. Anyway, throwing that out there for anybody that's like into partnerships and or selling. And selling's not a bad thing per se. It's an important part of the function. It's just whether you do sales correctly, which is with authenticity and clarity and communication and relationship building. I'm gonna stop talking. I'm rambling. Any other questions? Did I freeze?
No, just the comments. I was chatting with Robert. Usually I like this all ends because I chat with people in the background in Slack. And I want to thank you, Jeremy, because I tell you usually a one-on-one as we talk almost every day. But I really like the all ends, and you are still as inspirational as you used to be. So it's really good to have you as a leader because you really motivate us. So thanks.
Thank you, Homa. That really means a lot. I appreciate that.
That's why we're all still here, baby.
I think it's a bit of this like Band of Brothers theory, which is when you're in a high pressure environment and you have your comrades together, you're kind of in it, not necessarily for yourself anymore or for any one individual. You're in it for the people around you and how much they've all invested and how much they've helped you. So I feel like Leyline's like at that stage where we have become this movement. And yeah, we're kind of small relatively, but we grow day by day. And the more that grows and the more we see the future unfolding, I think we're just like, this thing is going, and it's not like, even if I was thinking about this like every now and then, which is like, okay, what happens if I just disappeared or like went to coma for 6 months or something like that? I think Leyline would just still happen. Like at this point, I don't even think it needs me per se. And that's a beautiful thing that like makes me really, really happy to know that you're all here and we're all here for each other. So I love all you
Yeah,
guys.
for sure. I'd just like to point out that you're not allowed to go into a coma for 6 months. So, all right, just want to put that on the table.
I think like we once we hit some specific post-funding milestone, I am totally taking a 1 week coma. That is my plan. It's
We
gonna be
also
awesome.
have this plan, Jeremy and I, where after when the situation gets better in Europe, Jeremy will try to find an arrangement for his girls, and we'll spend 10 days, 2 weeks here with me, and we'll do like hardcore work and workout and fun. And probably we have Arnaud in Nantes. By then it must be April, so maybe Robert and Michael will be around. So also do some good stuff. So
Yes,
just
indeed.
think about it. At the moment, it's really a nightmare in France because of the British and South African variant of the COVID, and they plan to restrict again. But May should be a good month.
I think we can make it happen. We are going to make that happen. I miss you so much, Lamar, but as well, Europe and travel and all these things. And hell yeah, we're gonna work hardcore. I'm gonna put my kids to work so crazy. They're gonna be developing so much shit on React. Just kidding. Yeah. Hey, Sheldon, it's so good to have you on the session, by the way.
Hello, everyone.
So good to see you.
I dropped it. Omar messaged me and I realized it was happening and came.
Yeah, you just missed the demo because it was awesome. The art demo, the meeting was recorded, but usually we have very good walkthrough from talented people, member of Leyline. Good to see you, Sheldon.
You too, man.
Yeah. Sheldon's out in you're near Versailles, right, Sheldon?
Currently? Yeah, that's right.
All right, so yeah, reunion, big time. It's gonna be a vaccination reunion. It's gonna be awesome. We just like show up with Nerf guns and vaccine needles and just shoot at each other. All right, I'm being silly.
Like Anna from Overwatch.
I like the luxury of being able to have a vaccine fight. if that were a thing, I think we'd be in a good place with the virus.
Who shot me in the eye?
Shahu, did you raise your hand?
Yeah, actually, as Roman said, I really feel it at the bottom of my heart. Like, you are so smiley, you're so humble, and in spite of the lot of burdens you have behind, so be positive. You make, you're fighting for the people around you, so you help them a lot. So I really mean that. You're such a nice person, Jeremy.
No, thank you, Shahul. Thank you. Man, I really don't want to put so much onto myself. But, we're all connected so intricately, and we're all just kind of reflections and echoes of each other and our ideas. So everything that you're seeing come out of me is really just like reflection of all of our interactions together and our shared beliefs and our shared activity. So that's why I don't want to take a lot of responsibility. And again, I don't want to be the center of this whole thing. I want to be out of this as quickly as possible. I just want to do projects. So at some point, we'll be this autonomous, connected, decentralized blob of good. That is, I think that's where we're going to go. But I'll do what I can. And man, trust me, I'm gonna mess up all the time. So please just hold me accountable to my mistakes. And you know what? I will say this, guys. It is. I don't understand how CEOs can stay CEOs for many decades, because this stuff is very hard and power is very, very, very corrupting. I could feel and see how easy it can be to slip into authoritarianism. And so I'm learning a lot in terms of what the responsibilities are in this role. And I think we have to really look at it very differently, what leadership is and how it's set up. Man, I'm really on different tangents today. I'm sorry. Anyway, so just a minor thing. If you guys are interested in Clubhouse, I do have some invites, and I think this week I'm going to do some test runs and start some just chat rooms. So what happens in Clubhouse, it's like this like discovery mechanism where like imagine like Facebook, but just only voice, where the only way you could share content is like by having long conversations with other people. And so I think that's a great format for us because we are all about authenticity and content and merit of ideas. So that's a great place to actually connect with people that are looking for the same kind of depth of conversation. And, it's really kind of exploding in the, the tech sector, Silicon Valley, and just big thinkers as well, and blockchain and NFTs. So I hopped into a couple of rooms over the past week or so, and one of our advisors, Yen, is like very big into this, and it's really fascinating. I don't know how to describe it, but you get just very high quality, in-depth conversations. You end up meeting and listening to very smart, accomplished people, and then you end up networking as well. So anyway, it's something that I do want to explore because just even for my own headspace and my own brain expansion, I think there's something big there. And if anyone wants to join me for a tour, happy to have a passenger in the back
I'd
seat.
love to go if I had
You don't
an
have
iPhone.
Damn it. I wonder if it's, do you have an iPad? I wonder if it's possible there.
Like it from the 1980s, yeah.
Okay. All right, we're going to sort something out. Might be able to do something there.
But I think I'd have fun in something like that, in a form like that.
Yeah, I mean, like it's what we're doing in our podcast right now, and I think that format's great. So anyway, something to consider. Anyways, any other question or topic I can help you guys out with or answer?
After we stop recording, probably stuff with the NRG and stuff like that, the esports stuff, and
yes, let's talk about that
as well.
Okay, I'll hit stop and record. I think. Okay.